Good evening, nerds. It's Fenna. 1312. It's time to teach you guys another filthy build order. In my opinion, after playing a lot of games of the current map pool in Legacy of the Void, I think this is one of the strongest builds in ZVZ right now, and helps me on my road to getting top 50 GM. I spent a good amount of time trying to come up with builds that would be strong against this opener, but every single one left me behind against a macro build, and then I just ended up using this and started killing almost everyone who wasn't using the same build. There are a couple of reasons as to why this build is extremely powerful right now. First of all, the maps this season are favorable for this kind of play. The way you typically want to hold this is with 2 queens on the ramp and then a spine crawler at the natural to protect the hatchery and the ramp. The maps this season tend to have naturals with big distance between the natural hatch and the ramp, meaning that spines don't cover the area too well. There are also maps with in-base expansions, meaning you can't really get to the ramp to block anyway because the spine doesn't reach unless you drop a creep tumor. And then there are 3 4-player maps where it's almost impossible to see what's coming due to the late scouting in Legacy. This is another big reason it's really strong. In Legacy of the Void, you start at 12 supply, whereas in HOTS you started at 6. That means the Overlord is technically about, and this is just an estimate, 1 minute and 15 seconds late at scouting. Same with any drone sent across the map. If you send a drone instantly on most maps, you'll have chosen between hatch or pool first before your drone arrives at their base. Basically, this is a strong build depending on the map, and pretty much all maps this season give a good reason to use it. Anyway, let's have a look at the build. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is get that drone going ASAP and then send the Overlord across the map. The first drone is going to rally straight to the gas geyser to go and take it. After that, we'll pick up a spawning pool on 12 supply. Make sure to put drones instantly on the gas. Then at 14 supply, we want to go ahead and get an Overlord. Send that bad boy across the map as well. As soon as the pool finishes, we're going to go ahead and start 3 sets of lings. And then as we get close to 100 minerals, we're going to pull 1 guy off the gas and start the Zergling speed. And then we're going to get another pair of lings. And we're going to go up to 19 supply in Zerglings before starting the Queen. Send those Zerglings across the map. And then 19 supply, we start the Queen. And keep producing Zerglings. And then as soon as you have 50 gas, go ahead and pop down the Baneling nest. We'll get 1 more pair of Zerglings at this point. And then at 22 supply, we're going to go ahead and get the Overlord. Make sure to inject as soon as the Queen comes out. But at this point, you have to make decisions. So this was just a test game to show you the build against an AI, but I'm going to jump into some scenarios now and see what kind of decisions we make with the build. So first game on Central Protocol, I get the dream scenario. Close position, some of the shortest rush distance in the map pool right now. Guy goes hatch first, and I go across the map. I decide to ignore the hatchery of the natural because I find that harassing the drone line before they get enough lings out to defend themselves is the best way to go. It denies mining time, and sometimes you get a few drone kills. Once his lings do pop, I decide to go back to the natural. In this specific replay, looking at it, I probably could have done a bit more damage to the lings after they popped, as I didn't have enough. But I go back to the natural, I kill the hatchery. After the hatchery is killed, my Baneling nest is up. When I was in his base, I saw him build some spine crawlers, so I decided to go for a heavier Baneling count here, going for 4 Banelings. Ideally, I would like 5, so I can insta-blow up the spine crawler. And my idea is just to roll the Banelings in, try and go for the spine crawler, knock that down, kill drones. What ends up happening is, I get into the drone line, and his drone's a clump, so I decided to blow up the Banelings alongside the slowlings, and I kill a bunch of drones and pretty much all of his slowlings, and that is the deciding point of the game, and I pretty much win at that point. Alright, so next one is on the Lerelak Crest against a Korean player. He manages to scout me in first position here. It's 33% chance, so really unlucky for me. And he's also going for gas pool hatchery, a super safe opener. So this is pretty much the worst I can get straight from the get-go. So as soon as I get into his base, I see 4 Zerglings. I'm like, oh crap, he's gone for a pull first. This is not good. I engage the first 4 Zerglings, but then I see another 2, which means the math just doesn't work out. You don't really want to be throwing away Zerglings in even numbers in this kind of scenario. You're going to have the Banelings first, so you want to wait for those. So I decide to go for the natural, poke at the natural a bit, pull his Zerglings out of his base, and wait for my Banelings before I can do damage. So just poking. We've pretty much got even Ling numbers, and it's not worth having to go, at least until I get speed. Maybe I can pull him out of position like this. I start to morph my Banelings. I don't think it's actually shown on the screen, but I morph my Banelings near his third base here. They're morphing right now, and my speed is about to kick in. Once my speed is kicked in, and my Banelings are sneaking around the back right now. This is kind of a little mind game. I'm trying to sneak the Banelings into the ramp so I can run my Zerglings past. And here you go, you see it. I run past, and then I've got full control of the game at that point. It's very, very hard for him to run up the ramp. And that's the deciding point of the game. Worst scenario for me, honestly, you can probably hold in that point, but I make something of it by just sneaking the Banelings past there. And there's nothing you can do, and it's GG. Alright, Central Protocol again, the dream scenario, very similar replay, but slight differences that I just want to show you here to show the differences in micro decisions that you might make in the game. So basically, I get to his base again, I harass the mineral line, stop him from mining as much as I can. I do a lot more damage this time, but I noticed that he doesn't build any spine crawlers, so I know he's going to be heavier Zergling and heavier Queen. So what I do is I morph 2 Banelings instead of the heavier 4 or 5, and my goal with these is just simply to zone the Zerglings or kill the Zerglings. And since I morph less, I'm going to have a bigger Zergling count, which can then kill the drones or snipe the Queen. What ends up happening is I get to the mineral line and it's very, very clumped up again, so I decide to blow the Banelings, get a bunch of drone kills, and then get the hell out of there, come back with more Banelings because I see he's only got slowlings and speed's not going to be kicking in. And then I can just wipe up his slowlings with my Banelings because that's easy stuff. Now, you need to be careful with this because if you only have 2 Banelings and you get like 3 drones, it's probably not worth it, as the Banelings are the only thing that are keeping your Zerglings alive against the opponent's Zerglings. You have kind of even Zergling count because he skips spine crawlers. So you gotta be very careful with where you explode your Banelings in this scenario. Alright, so last game on Ruins of Ceres against Agile Zerg. This is cross positions and he sends his Overlord to the center, so he sees my Lings pretty early and it's a massive map. So not the best for a very aggressive build order. By the time I get to his base, he has Lings out, so I'm like, well, I gotta go back to the natural and kill the natural, or just bait him to the natural, since I see that my speed is gonna be a lot faster. This works perfectly, he comes down to the natural, my speed kicks in, I pick off a bunch of Zerglings. I also saw a spine crawler while I was in his base, so I was thinking similar to the first replay, let's just build 4 to 5 Banelings, blow up the spine, and win the game. I do that, and I go into his base with 4 to 5 Banelings, and there's a full wall up around his entire mineral line. Now, at this point, you need to make the fast decision to go back to droning, or at least I did. Otherwise, you've got to attack with a massive overcommitment to hopefully blow up some big building with all your Banelings to break through or kill the Queen, and it's probably not going to be worth it. So I decide to just kill the natural, go back to droning, and take my lead. And if you look at the game at this point, I do have a big lead even though I've done no real direct drone damage. I've got the faster speed, which gives me the control of the map, along with a bigger army value, which he has to catch up to on limited larvae, allowing me to safely take a natural faster than him. All of this adds up to a pretty big advantage, meaning that as long as I don't make any silly plays at this point, I should win. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this build order video and the explanations of the micro decisions that I make. I'll see you nerds for a video tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Peace guys.